Oh, hello, I'm Dawn Kelsey.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
What's the
meet you.
code?
It's right there on a piece of paper.
How you doing?
I'm glad we're all recording.
I'm not recording.
It's just that.
I'm glad the rest of us are.
Yeah.
You had said that in your...
Yeah, oh yeah, I don't have a problem with that. See, that's your rights just as well as mine, and I respect them.
All right, here's my card, if you want it.
Thank you.
Before we get started, you're here voluntarily. You can leave at any time you want to leave, okay?
And as I stated before, I'm here to talk about the issues, not my personal life, not your personal lives or your personal business.
Okay. Well, let me go over a couple things with you, and then if you want, you can have 10 minutes to tell us all of your concerns so we can get them down, make sure that we understand what your concerns are.
Right.
Okay? The first one I want to go over is just clarification. I think you met with Sergeant Welch, not this past Friday, but the Friday before you were, you get a different chair? Yeah, they all.
Just,
They all
okay.
go back like that. I'm sorry. And there is a straight back
There's a
chair
straight back
right
chair
there.
back there if you want.
Would that be better?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, probably be okay. Make sure it's not, let's move this temporarily.
Okay. You got it?
That's better.
Okay, good. You had talked to Sergeant Welch about a letter that I had written you in response to one of your open records, and you were upset that I had used the word letter regarding Walgreens, and in response to your correspondence where you requested a complaint be filed. That was what I was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it was correspondence, I called it a letter.
Okay.
I apologize.
That's fine. I just wanted
Yeah.
clarification on that.
No, that was it. And like I said in that letter, you always have the right, if you disagree with the police department not filing charges, and I think
Well,
we talked
we
to...
didn't even get to that point.
Okay. If they determine not to do something, then you can go to the county attorney's office.
Right.
And I put that in that letter. And have you ever been to the county attorney's office?
You quasi put that in that letter. It was phrased differently, not exactly in those terms as explanative. The point was we had never gotten to that point because based upon you calling it a letter and then my not having received any follow-up with it, we hadn't even got to the point where I could follow up to go to the county attorney's office.
Well, you can go to the county attorney's office, and if you leave downstairs, the courthouse is right next door, and he is on the second floor. If you
By the DMV? Or not the DMV, but
No.
by the registration? Vehicle
Yeah, where
registration.
you get your car license. Yeah, he's on the other end,
Okay.
so you can do that. We are working on your current open request. Doris is up there working on it right now.
I assume, I'm not trying to rush you. I realize things take time. I don't expect magic.
Do you
I'm
want us to
reasonable.
mail it to you, or do you want us
You know
to
what?
call you?
It's whatever you guys are more comfortable with.
Okay, it's fine.
It's whatever you want to do. If you prefer not to give me a reason to come up to your office, that's your choice. If you and mail it, or if it's just easier and it saves the city money and says, hey, we're done with it. Call them, tell them to come pick it up. I'll gladly come get it.
I appreciate that.
Peacefully as always.
Thank you. And you had said something about the ticket that you received.
Yes.
That's another thing that once the ticket's written, we can't talk about it, but you can certainly go to Steve Gold's office. And if he's not there, he has assistant county attorney. So, like I said, you're free to leave at any time. Want to make that clear. And I know that you have got some concerns that you wanted to express, and I thought maybe the best way for you to tell us, and we can get those written down, is to come in, and you're really early, which is, great. So how about the next 10 minutes, you just tell us your concerns. Oh, and the only recording device we have on is that. And that is the city's PIO's.
Public information, okay. I'll FOIA it. Do I need to FOIA it directly from that person?
No, you can send it to me, and we
Okay.
can download that, and we can either email it to you,
Okay.
or we can put it on a CD.
A disc,
So
okay.
whichever's easiest for you, just let me know. Okay?
All right.
All right. The floor is yours.
Okay, first of all, I had a stop, my first stop, which was for, I'm not sure, he didn't specifically state to me the reasons for he didn't state the overall reason. What he stated was that he was there were 3 elements to the stop. One, that he was concerned that I wasn't going to make the turn. 2, that he thought he heard wheels squealing. And I don't remember the exact third one, but they all kind of meshed together. Now, I don't have a problem with the stop necessarily. If he felt that he needed to turn around from a red light to stop me, my issue, but just to cover those points, as I've already put, one, I did make the turn, and I made it quite lawfully and at a not excessive rate of speed, so that kind of makes that element moot to me. 2, my wheels squeal because I have bad alignment. My vehicle is not in the best of shape. He said I made the turn wide. As with every other time that I'm driving and have interactions, I have my dash cam going, which goes back and grabs everything back to a certain point prior to the point I press record. And I did not take the turn wide. I took the turn actually ended up dead center of the lane, which is shown clearly on my dash cam. But there again, that's not my main issue. If he felt like he wanted to stop me, I was not upset about the stop. What transpired afterwards is what upset me. And that is where I am held on the side of the road for an extended period of time. 1, extended detention. While 2, I was trying to get to the bottom of it and asking questions. Well, I couldn't ask any questions in the beginning of this first stop because the contacting officer, the detaining officer, fell back to his vehicle with my license and registration and etc. Basically took up cover and concealment back there, while another officer then came up for cover. And then we had multiple officers entering and leaving the scene, multiple marked cruisers behind my vehicle. While we all sat on the side of the road, I later found out awaiting a supervisor. Now, throughout the course of the conversation, which is all video and audio recorded, I inquired about what is going on. Because at this point, I'm sitting on the side of the road for something very, very minor, according to him. And yet, I'm being detained for an extended period of time. I'm not being given any answers. He's not reapproaching the vehicle, and I'm being treated like a criminal at this point. Like I had done, like we were on some felony stop. Like I was a suspect in some murder or something. I'm sitting on the side of the road. Everybody's falling back. I'm not being told anything. Then the supervisor arrives. And after an extended amount of time of asking questions, being essentially lied to, being told, the officer has the right to call a supervisor whenever he wants, which he knew full well was not the reason why he called a supervisor. It was Acting Chief Hargett's email passed down. And then we sit there for quite a long time. Finally, the supervisor admits, we've been told blah, blah, blah. So I inquire a bit further. And after I've asked enough questions where I feel I've got enough information to proceed from and through the department, then then the stop was over. Then I filed a bunch of open records, trying to get to the bottom of what's going on, including to receive Officer Hargett's. Do you prefer to be called Chief or Officer?
It doesn't matter where you want to call me.
Okay. Chief Hargett's email, and try to get to the bottom of that internal HPD threat, terror watch, whatever it is list. I also requested from you the reasons why. I've requested through multiple means, email, verbal, open records requests to find out the specific reasons why. Was never advised of it. Not once. Then I go to the police department, I believe it was the 13th, to speak regarding several issues. One was your mentioning of a letter in the thing.
Was that the Friday that you met with Sergeant Welch?
He spoke with me inside. He, made contact inside, and then he came outside while I was speaking with the lieutenant. I don't remember what the lieutenant's name is. Conrad? Okay. And, Officer Conrad, was cordial, said, I'll check into this for you, professional, which I expect. And, I expressed some concerns there. We had a lengthy conversation. And then, my feeling is that I'm being treated as a threat, terrorist, criminal by HPD. And I believe I can substantiate it through chronological order and order of events that I'm being retaliated against. And I believe specifically that ticket was a retaliation because I used my turn signal. I used it at that stop. I always use it at that stop because I've had people not use it at that stop and me not know what they're doing, and I've seen people almost cause accidents at that stop. So, and that's not the only reason why I believe it's retaliation, but that's some of it. So, then I put that message on the back of my vehicle, which I'm sure you're all aware, you're not. It states, Dear HPD / Major Edwards, support of / for Constitution is not terrorism. Thank you. That's it.
Can you say that again?
Would you like to come down and take a picture of it when we're done? I could send you a picture of it.
If you want to send it with
If
your
you did you
FOIA
watch
request?
did you watch the video?
Oh.
Because it has a picture of it in the video as well as
Is
the
that
email.
what you're talking about?
That's
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm
It's
sorry.
right on that video.
Okay.
So you can take a still shot of that. You're kicking some papers around down there, just so you know, a whole folder.
Oh, it's just a file.
Okay,
It's my
so
open records.
that's fine. So I put that message on that day, the 13th. I believe that's the date and the date of the ticket as well. I put that message on there. I had the conversations. I filed a bunch of requests, including requests about specifically Officer Penniman. Okay, and then that night, I go out for my normal drive, which I was doing, lawful, peaceful. I'm not violating people's rights. I'm not causing problems. I'm not intoxicated. I'm not under the influence of minor mood-altering substances, and I'm not looking to get into trouble. I'm just, when I go for a drive at night, it's my getaway from a child who has some issues, and that's how I focus and try to find the best way to deal with those issues and aid him in his progression through the stages of development. So I'm out for my drive, and I come up to the stop sign. I go to a complete stop. I turn on my signal.
At the air.
Okay. I take a left, and literally, and I'm not sure if he was sitting down at the bottom of the hill waiting for me, or if he was following me, because when I stopped at the stop sign, my direction was not, my attention was not behind me. It was in front of me to see what was going on. But as soon as I pulled away, I hear revving engine, and I look up, and he's flying up on me. And I mean, he's flying up on me like he was trying to stop someone who had just fled from the scene of a robbery. I get down to, now this is at Sinclair and Wood, I believe. I'm taking a left onto Wood from Sinclair. I get down to where you take a right onto the street where my apartment building is, which is Seven Oaks Apartments. And as soon as I turn on my signal again, take a right, and as soon as I take a right, he lights me up. So I'm like, okay, I pull over. Okay, I pull over. Number one, if the contact order, if the order, according to the wording, is contact a supervisor, they will handle it, and they will record. Now, number one, and this is just a side issue, both stops, the officer pretty much handled it. The officer made approach prior to contacting the supervisor, apparently, or he would have followed the order and not even made contact with me. He approached me, they requested my driver's license and everything, then they go back. Now, this second stop, where I'm getting stopped for an allegation of not using my turn signal, I was detained for well over 20 minutes. So yet again, in my opinion, an extended detainment based upon a not very well spelled out order, which I believe also gives further rise to elevated, heightened stance and positioning of an officer during initial contact, because all it says is, you need to contact a supervisor, and we need to record. Neither of which do I have a problem with, except being held for an extended amount of time on the side of the road for something simple. One. And two, any time, and you can argue this if you'd like, but any time you put out an order without specifying the reasons why, without expounding on it, whether it's law enforcement or corrections or security or bouncer, anytime someone is given an order on the lower end, patrolman, bouncer, whoever it is, okay, and there's no explanation why, you are setting the stage for a heightened and elevated stop prior to them even getting out of the car, or from the point that they know that they were supposed to or are supposed to contact a supervisor. If there's no explanation as to why, and it doesn't come back to them immediately, I believe you're setting the stage for a dangerous situation regarding my physical well-being and my life. I believe you're setting the stage, putting into an officer's mind, hey, wow, this must be something big. This must be a problem. This guy could be a threat. He must be a terrorist, or he must be on a watch list, or he must, and that's essentially what it is. So if I send down an order to people below me, anytime you have contact with this person, you better do this and you better do this, it's imperative, it's important, or you're going to be in trouble, this is important, and I don't explain why, those people have contact with that person, they're already at a heightened state. And I believe that puts me in danger. Because never mind, even if you believe that all officers are honorable and no officer ever makes a mistake, nor purposely out of vindictiveness, retaliation, vengeance, does any or takes any action contrary to law, even if you believe that, which in every occupation there's bad. Not all police are bad. I've never said that. But even if you believe that, there's still the fact that they would believe they're acting on something and it's people's interpretation of a standing order. So I believe that is a big issue.
But I got a question.
He's at 10 minutes too. He's at.
Oh, are you at 10 minutes?
At any time during.
Is that all
those
I'm allowed?
stops-
Hold on, wait. They're talking about me being at 10 minutes. Does that mean that's all I'm allowed to express my
Well,
concerns?
I had said 10 minutes, but if we need to go a little more, we can. Is there, besides what you've already expressed, which you expressed well, is there another issue that you wanted to
Well,
cover with me
Afterwards,
after the stop?
after this second stop, then,
Okay.
multiple times I was followed for extended periods of time. So here's what I think's happening. I think we have, and I'll try to sum it up quickly since I'm only
That's
allowed
okay.
so long to express. I think what we have is a standing order, regardless of the intent, mal or otherwise, a standing order that is sent down without complete clarification, that is putting me in risk, that is causing me, all done prior to my being stopped both times, that is causing me to experience harassment, possible stalking, let me finish please.
Sure.
Possible stalking and retaliation. I believe that ticket that I received, when I know I used my turn signal, is a direct result of that retaliation. And I believe that is what it spawns from.
When you just said what you said after the second stop, I was followed several times.
Yes.
Was that day?
It was that night. It was after that stop. That second stop occurred on a different date, and on that same date. Well, here's the deal.
The Wood and Sinclair stop?
Yes, ma'am. And here's the deal. That stop happened at approximately, I think, 23:55, 23:58 hours, which is 11:58, right before it turns over to the next date. So it technically wasn't the same date, but it is still within hours.
Okay, that was when you were followed.
Yes, afterwards. Now, I believe that there's an issue with my recording, which is my First Amendment right, with my expressing my First Amendment right, with my message on the back of my vehicle, which was obviously read and I believe was motivation or a part of the motivation. And I believe it all comes together. It's not one particular piece, it's a bunch of items that I believe complete a preponderance that lead me to a good faith belief that I'm being harassed. Now, I'm not being harassed by every officer, and I am not stating that for the record, and I'm not saying that most of the officers that I've met through experienced or had contact with at HPD, and I understand that they have a job to do, were not professional. I'm not stating that either. Even the officer that cited me was professional, but professionalism doesn't necessarily make moot the motivations behind the stop. So you were going to say something, Officer Welsh.
That's okay. You need to say it?
No.
So you said the officer was professional, but you don't believe that professionalism, I didn't write that down, I'm sorry. Well, I've got it on the text.
The point is I can smile at you all day and call you ma'am. It doesn't mean that what I just did was not right or was wrong, or and it's my personal belief that at this point in time, based upon the situation, based upon the email, based upon what's transpired, based upon my many open records requests, based upon my message on the back of my window, based upon my expression of my First Amendment in video and gesture, and based upon all of the facts in this, and then the stop where I'm told that I didn't use a turn signal that I know I used. I believe I'm being stalked. I believe I'm being harassed. I believe there's a risk to my safety, not necessarily by every officer out there, and not necessarily because they intend such. But if there's a non-explained email coming down that puts me in the mind of an officer who would deem me a threat, then already the stop is at an elevated stance. Already fight or flight could be taken in. You don't know. People panic over things like this.
When you state people, officers?
Everyone can panic over things like this.
So I'm gonna ask you this, every time you've been stopped, have you had a gun pointed at you? Have they ever unholstered their weapon? Have they ever placed you in the prone position in a felony traffic stop? Because you use that terminology, felony traffic stops.
But that's how I understand. But
I understand
the
how you
potential
feel,
is
but-
there.
But the facts,
I don't need to wait to get killed or injured till I get this fixed, do I?
I don't think any of those officers have ever unholstered.
And
pointed
again,
at you.
neither have I, and
And
yet
to-
I'm treated like a threat.
And to, hold on, and to let you understand, when the officer makes contact with you, he is trained to get your information and go back to his car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's training. That's training from New York City to
I understand that.
LAPD. Okay, that's their training. And when they're back there, they're doing certain things in that car, i.e. talking to dispatch.
Absolutely.
When they are done, they come back and hand you your paperwork.
And I've got a question about that when you're
And
done.
your backup comes in because he is preoccupied in the car.
I understand that.
That's the whole concept.
I understand.
Any traffic stop.
So
that's
let
being
me
made.
ask this then. There's a standing order, which means when they call in my tag, are they not supposed to call in my tag prior to stopping me so they can go on ahead and radio dispatch and control and let them know, hey, I'm stopping this guy, then just in case something happens, here's the tag, so that if something happens and he's fleeing or something happens and he's done something?
Doesn't necessarily mean it's getting ran.
Okay.
Well, it seems like everyone's getting upset and
I'm
that's
not, see, that is, I'm not upset.
Okay,
That's-
well, you.
And he doesn't seem upset.
No, they call it in,
Okay.
but just because it's called in doesn't mean it's ran.
Okay.
And just because that officer gets your name and takes the name back to the car, doesn't mean he's automatically running that right off the bat. The officer's gonna do that when it's tactically sound for him to do that, when it's feasible for him to do that. And he may call it in, but dispatch may be busy. There may
Okay.
be a traffic stop going on. There may be 4 other police dispatches going on. There may be a fire. There may be an EMS run. There may be all. So it may take dispatch 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes to get that plate or that information back that says, hey, that officer is dealing with X, Y, and Z subject. So it doesn't happen like that. That's why there's a delay in some of this stuff. And officers get frustrated with it as well.
Oh, I know, and that's the thing.
So, I mean, you've said an extended detention.
Well, I consider it extended because I've been stopped before, and normally I don't have to sit on the side of the road for 20 minutes waiting on the results
The courts have ruled that 20 minutes is not an extended detention.
The courts have ruled, actually they haven't specifically ruled on that, they haven't given specific, but what they've said is up around 20 minutes is a fair detention. The problem is that's a fair detention in specific situations. What's happening here is I'm being detained up to that point based upon a non-explained internal HPD watch list memo, basically is what it is.
I don't think the term watch list was ever used.
Well,
Well, that's,
So-
a lot of terms weren't used, but I would say that, and I don't think I've been a threat to anybody, and yet that's what I'm being treated as.
Besides the things that you.
Do you take me as a threat?
You've given us a whole bunch of your
See,
concerns.
No answers from,
I'm having some manners for the lady.
right? See,
I'm doing.
already you can tell, this is,
No, I just, she was talking and you tried to talk over. her.
actually,
Let her
I was
finish.
trying to finish asking you questions before she even started, but go on ahead, ma'am.
Okay, well, what I was gonna say was, you expressed your concerns. Were there any other concerns that you wanted to express today?
I have some questions.
You can take your questions. We may not answer them today, but you have the right to state your questions at this meeting.
Why am I on an internal watch list, or whatever he would like to label it as?
Okay.
That's not been answered at all, and yet I've asked it repeatedly to both the HPD and you, ma'am.
Okay.
I haven't received an answer to that, so we're not going to answer that today?
No, we're not.
We're not going to answer that, okay. Am I deemed as a threat in the city of Henderson and HPD?
I've never said that. I've never.
Okay.
No.
I just want to get clarification, because that's kind of what I feel like.
And
is-
let me just state this: there is no watch list. So.
Well, there is an internal HPD email that came down from Chief Hargett that states that all officers should contact a supervisor during any interaction with me, and that all things should be recorded, neither of which do I necessarily have an issue with, just what they may cause. I don't care if they're recording, if they have their super secret scroll pocket recorders or body cams, and I have no issue with that, because just like it's my right, I believe it's you guys' right, and for your safety.
Chief Hargett also put out a memo about a week and a half ago in reference to only supervisors are allowed in dispatch.
Okay,
That was it on that email.
Right.
There was nothing else. There was no explanation why. There was no, Chief Hargett said, nobody other than supervisors are allowed in dispatch, period.
right.
There was no explanation there.
Okay, you want to know the difference between that one and this one?
There is no difference.
No, there is a difference, if you'll let
In
me.
your opinion, but my opinion, there is no difference.
Okay.
You have an opinion and I have an
Well,
opinion. He put out an order to the
can I-
troops.
can I-
that
And I
says
believe
no.
we've answered his question.
Yes.
His-
Yeah.
Your original question.
Well, I'd like to respond to him now. He did make a comment. In my opinion, the difference is, one, I'm a private citizen. I'm not working for him. Two, there's no explanation. Three, I would be dealing in the situations that he's referring to. I would be dealing with officers who may have to have a heightened state. Four, those officers are out doing a job where there are dangers to them, even though I am not one. So, and five, I am a private citizen. So I
said
believe,
that twice.
I believe that. See, that's the kind of respect that you get. That's all I'm doing is having a cordial conversation with you, and you're being absolutely disrespectful as
No,
the
sir.
acting chief.
You said five. Since it's recorded, I want to make sure that facts are straight. You said private
Okay.
citizen twice.
Okay.
It was my only statement on that.
Whoa. Okay, that's fine. You can be disrespectful if you'd like.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in. Would you like for me to go ahead and ask them to download that on a CD?
I would.
Okay. You wanna? If I can get her to do that today, I'll put it in your open records. If not,
Okay.
I'll do the separate open
That's fine.
records. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. And you don't worry about writing that one. We'll put it in.
Okay.
So
Okay.
anyway, you have my email. You have my contact information. If you got anything else, let me know.
That's it.
Thank you.
Except,
Appreciate it.
except for the record, I was trying to have a cordial conversation with you,
Absolutely.
and I don't believe that was your
It went
intent.
very well.
Yeah, I bet you
Have a
did.
good day.
See, that's how you treat the public. That's my concern. And if that's coming from him directly, it's also being shown through his officers. It's also being expressed to them. They're also picking up on it, along with the email.
Would you like someone to walk you out?
Would you like to walk me out?
No, I'm just asking.
Do I need someone to walk me out?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm,
No,
again, I'm just trying to extend good manners.
Well, I think I'd be safer with you in here. You have a nice day, Officer Welch.
It was nice to meet you, Mr. Franklin.
You too, ma'am.
Take care.
Have a good day.
You too. I will record the whole way out.